Yeah, please help yourself to the snacks because it's all about the food. So thank you so much, Renee. This is the networker in chief. So anybody who wants to learn about networking, just go to this lady. She's the master. And thanks again to Hague Tech for hosting us. Very kind of you. Beautiful space. So my name is Fiona Passantino. I have been working for about 12 years in very giant Dutch corporations. So most recently Danone, Philips, PostNL, Achmea, Nationaal Nederland, and for the first time now I'm stepping out. I've gone out on my own. I'm now a speaker, writer, blogger, YouTuber, podcaster, and I help companies, I help teams try to get their engagement and their culture issues upgraded, because as we all know, we have a bit of a crisis right now in our engagement. So, engagement. We are disengaged. How many of you are feeling disengaged at work? Disengaged at work, okay. At times, okay. How many are really supercharged every day? They jump out of bed. Okay. All right, good. And then the middle, somehow the middle, like some days are good, some days are bad. Yeah, okay. I'm surprised, actually, at you. Oh, I thought you'd be more engaged. Okay. So we're basically right in that demographic. In the world, 32% of us are considered actively engaged. And 18% of us are actively disengaged. And the rest of us, about something like 50%, are landing somewhere in the middle. Now, this seems like a normal demo, but when you think about the trends, since about 2009, we have been steadily increasing our disengagement and decreasing our engagement by about 2 points a year. So this has happened long before the pandemic, something like 10 years before the pandemic. And it's very easy for us to point to the pandemic and say, it's the great quit, it's the great resignation, COVID made us all crazy and now we're quitting. Well, actually that's not the case. That's a very easy way of looking at it, but this trend has been growing for about the better side of 15 years. So why is that? Where did this come from? Part of this has to do with the fact that we are increasingly in a toxic work environment. It started as kind of an unknown, unspoken phenomenon, and it's now growing into something that we can't ignore. Because we're all feeling it now. We're starting to feel the pinch of what you call personeeltekort. You go to a restaurant and there's no servers. You go to Schiphol and there's no baggage claim and your bag is a giant mountain of stuff somewhere. Sort it out yourself. So we're starting to feel this in our daily lives, that there just aren't enough people to do the work. It's because people are leaving. I spoke to an HR professional this morning who said her biggest growing and her fastest growing and her largest group of clients is the interim hire, which is somebody who comes in to take over from a sick person, somebody who has burnout, somebody who's on leave. This was a pretty shocking thing to hear. So the people that are on sick leave because of work overload, that is also growing. So engagement is going to continue to go down by about 2% a year, and disengagement is probably going to continue to go up 2% a year. And what does this mean if you're a leader? Well, a lot, because one of the biggest reasons why we quit, in fact, 82% of us quit, the ones who quit, we quit because we don't like our bosses. And it's actually that simple, that we come to a job, we're happy at a job because of our manager, and we leave a job largely because we don't like that manager. So how many of you are team leads or managing something or managing people? Okay. All right. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Nice. All right. And how many of you have felt the responsibility of keeping people happy? Like acutely feeling you're responsible for their happiness? Okay. All right. Well, one thing that's important to know, and this is a common mistake that many leaders make, is that they feel like they have to be responsible for your happiness. No. You have to be responsible for setting the stage for happiness. You have to make sure as a leader that the environment is conducive to happiness, but the actual happiness part is on your employee. Even that, increasing the stage setting for happiness, is going to be a job in itself. So that's what we're going to talk about today. A couple of little little tips to help out. So one of the things that really inspiring leaders, male or female, they all have a certain number of habits that they share. And one is visibility. So they are walking the halls, they are talking to people, they make it part of their day. So the first maybe 5 or 10 minutes of their day, instead of just parking their car in the garage, taking the elevator up to the top floor, rushing off to your first back-to-back meeting where you're going to be gone all day, you really take the time to go the long way. Go through the canteen, go through the coffee, linger at the coffee areas, talk to people. These are people that work for you, work with you. How are they doing? What are their names? Do they like it? Are some things irritating? Are some things really great? And then if you make this a daily or every other daily practice, then this also helps gather that little bit of data, how people are feeling. This is qualitative data, but it means something. And it's also good for optics. If people see that you're engaging with people on the work floor, learning their names, asking about their families, this looks good. People see that, and this builds trust with the whole organization. And this also means being present psychologically. So, anyone here have kids? Teenagers? Okay. So, rule in my house is when you're having dinner, the phones are face down on the table. There's no phones when you're eating dinner. And at meetings, we usually try to say, please put your phones away. How many people have seen their managers scrolling on their phones, texting, multitasking during a meeting that they're not actually running? Well, me a lot. I've seen that a lot. And this sends the message that you're not really there. You don't really care. You're not really listening. You're not 100% focused on what is being said. It sends a signal that they're not important. And this is a very big driver of disengagement. It's not just a non-engager, it's an actual active disengager. When you see somebody who you need their approval, your boss, your manager, and they're not even looking at you, they're not even focused on what you're saying, this is a downer, this is a disengager. So when you're at a meeting, when you're with people, try not to multitask. Just run off to the elevator, close the door, go into the bathroom if you have to, close the door, batch check your emails, and there you go. A really nice way to do this is to schedule meetings for 45 minutes instead of an hour. Give yourself that 15 minutes to do that necessary work. You'll be more focused on that as well. When we try to multitask, we actually become dumber. We lose up to 60% of our cognitive ability when we flip back and forth between tasks. So we're dumber. We don't remember names. We don't remember dates. And why be that way? Just schedule them separately. And this also sets the stage, sets the example for the other people on your staff, that this is the way to work. Also, when you have a meeting that's 45 minutes, you get a lot more intensive work done. You get it more to the point. You don't chit-chat too much. You just get it done and you move on. So that's one that I still do to this day. There's a lot of tasks that managers take on that are very high profile and signal to the rest that they are the ones in charge. But not all of these tasks have to be done by the manager themselves. And I mean introducing people at town halls, reading off the quarterly numbers, doing the kinds of high-level profile welcoming of clients that don't actually have to be done by that person. You can delegate a whole lot of those tasks over to people that work for you. And this sends a message that you trust them, that you're growing them, you're interested in their progression professionally, and that they have somewhere to go if they stay. The second largest reason why people quit after my manager is a jerk is nobody cares about my professional development. So the more of these kinds of high profile, high visibility, high status, let's say meaningless tasks that can be delegated out, that give the person visibility, the better. This will be an active driver of engagement. And this goes for things like open Q&As. If you're running any kind of meeting that has to do with let's say, touchy-feely things, has to go for social events, send that over. And then the last tip is to be present digitally, engage digitally. That means publish, get yourself out there, have a social media account going, join the social media feeds. I think at Danone we use Workplace, but how many managers are actually there, right? None, right? None? Okay, none. and then we would draft it and give it to our managers, but they would even not do it. So I think something like 68% of us feel that it's important for our managers to have a social media presence within a company. And it's also important for these managers to comment, to say, hey, good job, to attach themselves to a conversation that's going on, posting once a week. And then this goes for thought leadership, and it goes for any kind of visual, audio thing that you want to publish. And that is where I will hand over to Bradley, because he knows how to get us started. So thanks so much.